Good evening, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to Moroccan Post, where we discuss yesterday's events for today's information and tomorrow's news. I am Tamara L. I have with me Abdullah El Talib Mosey Bey, who will discuss Ash Wednesday. Now, Ash Wednesday, throughout the entire world today, many congregations are exercising the ritual Ash Wednesdays as they had prepared the burning of the palm branches from the previous Sunday, which is Palm Sunday. Now, in the ritual, the ashes of this holiday symbolize two main things: death and repentance. Now, ashes are equivalent to dust, and human flesh is composed of dust and clay. Now, you'll see that verse in verse Genesis 2 and 7. Now, when a human corpse decomposes, it returns to the dust as ashes. Now, what does this mean in the ritual of Ash Wednesday? Now, when the people come forward to receive the ashes on Ash Wednesday, they're saying that we are sorry for our sins and that we want to use the season of Lent to correct our faults, purify our hearts, and control our desires and grow in holiness so we'll be prepared to celebrate Easter with great joy. Now, that is the ritual that is being practiced starting Palm Sunday, today, Ash Wednesday, all the way up into Easter. Now, what we have, we're going to bring forth Brother Abdul El Talib Mosey Bey. We're going to go into the esoterical meaning of Ash Sunday. So, if you would, Brother Abdullah, want to go ahead and introduce yourself, and we can go ahead and get started.
Peace, everyone. Yes, I am Abdullah El Talib Mosey Bey, author of several books: The Illuminati, Illumination of the Mind, Moors and Masonry, Etymology and Vocabulary, Supplementary Etymology Vocabulary, Supplementary 1, How Moon and Venus Rule, and the Masonic Compass Square and the connection to timekeeping and measurement. You can go to mooresandmasonry.org, mooresandmasonry.org to order my books. And it's great to be able to present this knowledge to our people about the truth behind Ash Wednesday.
All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. Now, Brother Abdullah, now, as we talked about the ritual of Ash Wednesday being performed from an esoterical standpoint, could you let's go over the ashes being placed on the forehead? Let's start there.
All right. So let's look at we're gonna break down to the component parts. We got the ashes and we have the forehead. So you have the ashes is a product of something being burned. If you burn paper, the product or the results of burning paper are ashes. They, carbon. So you have a carbon base there, and so the fire, deals with the illumination of the mind. So you're burning you're burning ashes. It deals with the purification, the renewal, the birth. So Ash Wednesday, why placed on the forehead? Now I have my book, The Illuminati, Illumination of the Mind. I just want you to pay attention on the image, the color, the cover. You have the all-seeing eye, the cyclops, the pine cone, the lotus flower, the Uraeus, the unicorn, the dragon, and the Osiris. All right, so what does that mean? How does this relate to ashes being placed on the forehead? Now, they have some priests who will place it just below the headline, depends how fast they're doing it, or some are placed right on the pineal gland, right directly above the pineal gland. Notice over here. All right, so you say forehead. Where on the forehead? On or above the pineal gland. What does that mean? I showed you the picture, my book cover of the Illuminati in the Illumination of Mind. You see that this is an ancient culture here. That this is representing all these different images tied right to the pineal gland. So the culture being expressed in different ways, but leads back to its common origin. So the pineal gland is that seed. The oil is secreted. The klas or Christ is seated in that Christ is the oil. The sun stimulates the serotonin and melatonin in the brain, activating the neuromelanin. So this is placed, the ashes are placed on the pineal gland or above the pineal gland, representing a symbolically connection to the ancient world culture of the pineal gland. It ties right back to this. Now you have those who claim to be Afrocentric. Will make the claim that this has nothing to do with Asiatics because they see the Albion performing it. Or so this is why it's based on the pineal gland or above the pineal gland, tying back to the ancient culture, dealing with the activation of and symbolic. Of course, by placing it, it's not going to activate the pineal gland. All right, this is just symbolic. And symbolic of maintaining the culture.
I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm back. I had muted myself. Now, let's look at the esoterical meaning of Lent. Now, this is Lent season, beginning of Lent season, and one of the main the holidays of Ash Wednesday symbolize death and repentance. Let's look at death. Let's look at the word death. Now, when one associate death, they're thinking about the death of the physical body. They're giving the story of the death of a physical man dying on the cross. Let's go to the esoterical meaning or the astronomical meaning. Let's just say astronomical meaning for this particular topic we're going to discuss with the death in relation to the ritual and the death in relation to the astronomical meaning of Lent and the death season of Lent.
All right, before I jump into that, I want to talk about let's go into the misconception of death. Like how the people throughout the world today have viewed death. That's not the ancient world. That's not the ancient world mindset. You have the book of coming by forth, coming by day or by night. Now the Abians call it the book of the dead. That is a constructive title, book of the dead. This concept of death that the masses have that was not the mindset of the ancient world. It was life, a continuation of life, a regeneration, a renewal. So it's the Albions. So you have this whole concept of death no more, where energy We're looking at the transfers of energy. We have the solid, we have ice. Then you heat up ice, it melts. You steam it, then turns it to steam. So the block of ice turn into liquid, and that liquid could turn into steam. So we're looking at nature, a transitioning of energy from different states. I said that so that we can get back to the mind of ancestors. That there was knowing that we see plants and animals and trees, and that's a life. We saw our connection with everything. You have the divine world, the divine or unseen world, which is manifested through geometry. So I want to put that depth and clear that up.
Absolutely.
Now, you talked about the esoteric. You had mentioned Lent, the beginning of Lent.
Yes.
So let me clear that up. Lent, and I want people to follow me. You're going to follow me astronomically, mathematically. Lengthen. Say the beginning of Lent, which means the days begin to lengthen in March in the Northern Hemisphere. Well, let's go to the sunrise and sunset charts. Google, when y'all get a chance, the sunrise and sunset charts, and you'll see June 21st, which is summer solstice. The sun is at its highest point of elevation. It hovers for 3 days. It's its furthest point of elevation, and then it hovers, stands still. The parent motion of the sun stands still, and then it begins its descent. And from that day forth, the days will incrementally get shorter. Every 7 days, there's a 10-minute decrease. And so when you look at the sunrise and sunset charts, starting with June 21st, you'll see a negative throughout July, negative throughout July, August, negative throughout September, October, November, all the way up to December 24th. You'll see the negative. It means there's a decrease. Mm-hmm. Every 7 days is a 10-minute decrease. That's negative. Then either December 24th or December 25th, you see a positive. It's a positive 40 seconds. That is the Lent. That is the beginning of Lent. That is when the days begin to lengthen. If it's 30 seconds, that's still an increase. Prior to that, it was a decrease. Mm-hmm. I want them to look up. I don't know what Abdullah said, because this whole doula said it don't work for me. Go to the sunrise and sunset chart and see it for yourself. Lent is December 25th or 24th or 25th. That is the day. That is when the days begin to lengthen. That's the starting point. A 40 seconds or 1 minute increase. Astronomically and mathematically speaking, that's Lent.
So astronomically, when did the death occur?
All right. The death of the sun in the Northern Hemisphere is on December 21st. There's 2 points where the sun is at its outer limits. It's extreme northerly point and extreme southerly point. The sun's extreme northerly point is is 21st, which is the summer solstice. The sun's extreme southerly point is December 21st in the northern hemisphere, which is the winter solstice. That is the death of the sun. The solstice means stand still, because what happens is the sun's going to stand, the parabolic on the sun is going to stop and hovers for 3 days, because that is it's going to stop its southerly descent and then begin its northerly descent. So we have the solstitial points. These are very important to understand what's going on. So this is why I wanted to give people astronomical knowledge, so we know how to see it.
So
You had asked about something else.
well, that's what I want to. That's what I definitely wanted you to bring out, because what I would like to listen to the audience to be able to pull from this, the rituals are derived from the astronomical phenomenons that occur. So if you're going to have these rituals, they must be in its proper alignment for that energy to be even have its full effect. Because if you're practicing a ritual out of the bounds of its origin in which it was created, what is the source of that energy coming from? That's a distortion. That's a distortion that one must look at, because now the ritual is outside of its astronomical content foundation. That is the purpose of also, this a special message this evening, to be able to show there's a misalignment in the practice and the astronomical meaning of which the ritual is derived from. So what will today's events that is classified as Ash Wednesday, what would be the purpose of having it being outside of its origin?
Well, there's no empowerment there. You have a bunch of robots. The purpose of having it outside of its origin is to create robots. Robots create, do this, do that. No thinking about it, or they're giving on how to look at it.
Right.
Jesus died for my sins. Sin is the Sumerian name for the moon, so they're misusing the word sin. That is the Sumerian name. Moon is modern English. Lune, Latin. Sin, Sumerian. So the Jesus dies for my sins. So the sun, Jesus is the sun, S-U-N. So when the sun sets, let's go with Jesus dies for my sins, because that's a true statement.
Yes.
No, I have nothing wrong with the statement. There's nothing wrong with the statement. So we
Not
just
at
say
all.
Jesus died for my sins. Jesus dies for my sins. Jesus dies for my sins. That's it. That's a factual statement. Jesus dies for our sins is a factual statement. That's all right. The sun sets, you see what? Sin.
Yes.
The sets, you see what?
Sin.
The sun
The moon.
sets or dies for the day. Sun sets
For
or
the-
dies for the day.
For the
You see
moon to
what?
come up.
You see sin.
Yes.
The sun sets or dies for the day. You see what? Sin. Jesus dies or sets. All right, for my sins or for the sins or for the movie scene.
Yes. And that another name was what? Sinana?
Sin. So because you have sin and then Nana, because that's Venus.
Yes.
So you have sin, you have the moon and Venus.
Now, is Ash Wednesday a Eastern, I'm not an Eastern, is it a European holiday? Because you hear, oh, these holidays are European holidays. They're Albion's holidays. Is Ash Wednesday a European holiday?
Let's deal with Western, because you were gonna go there. So since you went there,
I know.
I want to. All right, because you said, is it?
I was trying not to slip, but it came out anyway.
No,
You
I'm
caught it.
glad you slid. That was a good slip, because it gave me, because I would have never this. If it didn't slip, then I've never gone there with Western.
Right.
because this is the game they're playing. You know,
Right.
this is Eastern. This is what they call Western civilization
Hmm.
is Eastern civilization.
Absolutely.
I see what I this I want y'all to follow me, please. What the Avianda done was taking the term Western civilization
Hmm.
and placed it on our culture. They're claiming our culture. They're distorting it. Western civilization is our culture. They just it's a term they're using to steal. All right. That's a modern term that they hated to place themselves in our culture, to place themselves into history, and to make some distinction of old world and new world, but Western civilization is our culture. That's this Eastern civilization, Western civilization, they play on that. It's one and the same. Eastern, Western, one and the same. One and the same. We have to really look at these words and how the Abiyans are using to distort, to steal, to cover up, to mask, and to throw you off. They play the three-card Molly. They're playing the three-card Molly words. So we're gonna take this stuff and we're gonna call it Western civilization.
Hmm.
And then we're gonna get them, right? You know, to buy themselves, say, see, that's Eastern, that's Western. When we have to look deep into what they're saying. All right, so that gave me an opportunity. And you said
Yes.
something else.
Yes, and I think Western slipped because I'm glad
Now
you
you never
commented.
said Western, you said Eastern, but I knew
Yeah, I said Eastern,
I wanted to
and I'm
I wanted to
glad you
address the
I'm glad you
Western.
was able to catch that and kind of bring it forth because you understand where my mind was at, and
Mm-hmm.
a lot of times you don't want to give out too much to where it's too much to chew. We like to be able to have it where it's able to be digestible and one can always go back and research and verify because you're not to believe anything anyone say on these platforms. You're always to just receive it and then take the body of knowledge and go and verify it. And if it's verifiable, then it can stand. If you can't verify it, or if the information is lost, being able to try to verify it, continue to question it until you're able to verify it and becomes your own. Because a lot of times you hear a lot of parroting that going because I know you've been on this circuit for years, Professor. You've been on this circuit out here for years teaching etymology, teaching grammar, and I know over the past 3-4 years you've gotten it, you've merged, you put on the other glove. You had on the glove of law of language and grammar, and now you place the glove of law in the other hand, and you're mirror putting them together like a mirror, like hand and glove. And so you've gotten into the jurisprudence of law. And so, with that being said, it's great to see you operate in that arena to be able to help shape up and clear some roads, make some roads straight in that area as well. Um, so, thank you for the work that you've done over the years. I've been with you now for 4 years now. It's been 4 years. Now, as we continue to look at Ash Wednesday within itself, um, is Ash Wednesday? Is it related? How is it related to springtime? Because I know in January you had everyone saying Happy New Year, Happy New Year, and you know when one started to learn and understanding that the new year is the beginning, it starts in March the 21st, and not during the death season of the heart of winter. So, how is Ash Wednesday related to spring?
All right, let me start with Christmas.
Mhm.
Christmas is the birth of the sun. So I have to start with the birth of the sun. Where now you have a 30-second or 1 minute increase in the day. So you look at the sunrise and sunset chart, you'll see roughly that every 7 days there's roughly a 10-minute increase in the day. All right, so there's incremental increase. So they begin to lengthen starting with December 24th or 25th, and so the sun's getting stronger. Days are getting longer. Every 7 days, a 10-minute increase. 10-minute increase every 7 days. Now let's look at Ash Wednesday. How now you have this renewal of the mind, because that takes up pineal gland that's dealing with the renewal of the mind, or the activation symbolically of the, which is a renewal of the mind, because the mind was dead, meaning the pineal gland was calcified. So the pineal gland, you wouldn't have to activate the pineal gland. It was already, if it's already activated. It was calcified. So you have to be activated, or renewal, or recharged, re-energized. So there's a re-energizing of the sun. So now looking at the the vernal equinox, equal day, equal night. So there's about, say, 11 hours and some odd minutes of light, and 12 hours or such a night. So you have, it's not going to be 12 hours and 12 hours. You'll see 12 hours and 50 minutes of daylight, 11 hours and 10 minutes of night. So there's an equal day, equal night. So now you have this renewal of life on Earth in the northern hemisphere, as well as the renewal of life in the people because of the sun. Means more sunlight. So that's how it ties to spring. And this is what they're actually preparing the people for. Like, get the story, having people think that Jesus is an actual man, and Jesus, blonde hair, blue eyes, straight hair, that actually fit, that carry that, so they got people there. People are there. They're not there with the sun, the actual sun concept. It's the blonde hair, blue eye, straight hair, not, they took the story. They think that that's a historical fact.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So the astronomy is not there in people's minds. The sun is not there in the people's minds. Hair, Albion, blonde hair, blue eye, straight hair, man. That's in their mind. That's mine. So that's where the distortion is.
Right. Now, speaking of the mind, the illumination of the mind has been received a negative connotation over the years. Now, when one say the word Illuminati, illumination, the word just Illuminati has been denote a group, and then one would say a cult, and even the word cult. So I just got to bring all this out, even within itself. Even the word cult is being denoted to mean a group of evil deeds. So when someone say Illuminati, they would say, "Oh, that's a cult that practices, bad rituals and sorcery on people." So let's get into the word cult. Let's put that back in its proper meaning, and let's put the word Illuminati back into its proper meaning, and have its connection to Ash Wednesday. Illuminati connection to Ash Wednesday.
All right, and in the movie Tomb Raider, Laura Croft is with her father in the cave with her father, and he mentioned he mentioned the Illuminati in its proper perspective. He told his daughter Laura Croft that Illuminati is those who are enlightened, the enlightened ones. That word Illuminati is placed in its proper perspective in that Illuminati, those who are enlightened, the enlightened ones. You have in the music industry, entertainment industry, you have different entertainers will refer to Illuminati as some European group that controls the music industry, and they do this blood sacrifice. Whitney Houston and Michael Jackson, and as soon as one of the entertainers dies, they contributed to the Illuminati. And then and we have these people who go on do these shows, and the Illuminati, and Michael Jackson, or Diana Ross, or Aretha Franklin, and
Oh,
they died on
yes.
such and such date. They died on such and such date, and see that's the Illuminati. See, the Illuminati, is in play there. See, that's a blood sacrifice. Official. See, that's what they're doing. They're placing a negative connotation toward Illuminati.
Right.
Please stay with me. Louis Laura Crawford, the Tomb Raider, there was no negative connotation. That's the proper sense of the word. The enlightened ones. The etymology of the word. Loom is the root word, which means shine. The IL is the prefix. Upon. Shine upon. So etymology have a negative meaning. So this is how they're controlling. Now they are controlling us because we're looking. We see our culture in front of us, but we detach from it. The all-seeing eye. That's the symbol of the Illuminati. That's devil worship. That's a cult. See, it's all. This is how their albions are controlling us with the constructive meanings. I have, for the past 10 years, I put heavy focus on finding the misconceptions about our culture.
Yes.
And placing it in its proper etymological mind science perspective. And this is the opportunity for me to continue to do this, Ash Wednesday. Now we have occult. Now let's look at the occult or occult sciences and different rituals. Ritual comes from the word arithmos, which means number, arithmetic. So a ritual, etymologically speaking, ties to a number. Otherwise, it's not a ritual. It's a type of number. Ritual means number. Ritual comes from the word arithmos, means number. There is no ritual by a number focus. Otherwise, you're using the wrong word then. You can't say ritual without a number. Right, so just want to provide clarity on that. So we have the occult sciences has been misrepresented. Let's look at witch. Wicca, knowledge. What the Albions done, though, the titles, wealth, land, all those were passed down to the motherline of the king. The witches are the healers, not are. The witches are the healers. The herbalists. The metallurgists. The Albions do took what they did, do the witch burnings, so that they can what? Claim the inheritance. It's all about the inheritance. It's not about they hate women. No, 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 no. It's nothing about they hating women. That's not intelligent to take that position. They hate women. Once you understand that it's the women that the wealth, titles, and properties passed down to mother line. Once you clear on that, you understand the motive. Oh, it's not about hating women. It's about taking control of the wealth.
Yes.
Nothing to do about hating women.
Mm-hmm.
Has nothing to do about hating women. So Hollywood continuing with this misconcept and taking our culture. Let's look at the movie Maleficent or any
Yes.
Hellboy. Hellboy.
No, let's do Magnificent. That was my favorite one.
No, because any character that has the horns.
Mm-hmm.
How are they painted? How are they depicted in the movie? Any horn-headed character in the movie, how are they depicted in any movie? Being evil. The name Maleficent means bad. Mal means bad. So even the name of the main character, Hellboy.
Mm-hmm.
See how any horn-headed character they're doing? They're distorting
Even the Baphomet.
the Baphomet,
Mm-hmm.
evil, the devil. The devil is a distortion of an ordinary goat or bull. That's all. And meanwhile, they use the horns. See, once again, they take your culture, they take our culture, and use the cornucopia, horns of plenty. They take our culture and put it on amulets. I have the snake. Oh, the snake is evil. Snake is evil. Ooh, snake is evil. And you see all your life. You've seen the snake on the ambulance all your life. Right in your face.
Right. Now, how does that ties into the collective consciousness of Ash Wednesday and the illuminated mind?
All right. Well, you're going to have millions of people throughout the world that have or will be having ashes placed on above their pineal gland or on the pineal gland. So there is a mass people, millions that are focused on this. One day, focus on this, getting ashes. Though it's distorted, how they're controlling the people. But now, collective consciousness would speak on that aspect of controlling people, meaning the collective consciousness where you can manipulate
Yes.
the construction of words, what they do, construction of the collective consciousness now, and now becomes a low vibration. But the collective consciousness in this truth is tied to the Akashic records. That's the Akashic records and the collective consciousness is one.
Okay, one and the same.
You have what's called the interconnected. So the collective
Wait a minute, I missed
consciousness
you.
is
You
tied
kind of broke up. It's called the what?
to interconnectivity of the one.
Okay,
You hear me?
interconnectivity of the one. Yes.
So that so
Yeah.
collective consciousness is tied to the principle of the interconnectivity of the one. How every event, every thought, actions are all connected and is recorded in the Akashic records. That's understanding that divine principle of the internet connectivity of the one. That's tied to the collective consciousness. All right.
Now, when one say, these may be some new terms for our listening audience because we have our scholars, our adepts, we have our scholars, and we have our novice in the room. Now, we like to also speak to our novice. We don't like to leave them sitting in their seats and their heads spinning because I remember those days where I was sitting there and things were just going past up my head like a wave, and I would get this massive headache. But as you start to settle into your understanding, you said collective consciousness. So I'm gonna go back to the collective consciousness of that and the interconnectedness of the Akashic records. And I know there are times when you would have read something, let's just say, as you start on this journey to open up the Christ consciousness within, because that's what you have, what you call having that milk, that physical baptism, not the exercise baptism where you're having the physical baptism where things that are on the inside are being pushed away. They're being pushed up and pushed out of you. And it allows that's was settled within your collective DNA to be able to rise up. It's the rising up of the truth, the rising up of the Christ consciousness from within. And I know as I was preparing for one of the shows, I I remember calling you saying, "Man, I was just sitting here, and all of a sudden, my inner self said, get up and go get this particular book." And as I went and got this particular book, I opened the book, and it turned to exact page that I wanted to be on. And you said that process is called what?
All right. When one is in tune, like you have a radio stream, radio, and you have this lot of static, and you're trying to get to the channel. Before you get to that channel, you hear static, and once you connect to that channel, all right, then you got the connection. Well, that is actually how the mind works. That is based off of that. So being tuned with the Akashic records.
Yes.
And the more tuned you are, the more you can see, the more things will come to you. It's a frequency. So you're increasing that Kundalini energy, that activating that pineal gland. That's what happens. It's a synchronicity.
Yes.
There's no coincidence. There's synchronicity. The universe all is numbers. The universe is mental.
And I know people would say, if you listen to children are very in tune, because they are very in tune with their Akashic records because they're really not that far removed from it as they transition to this dimensional plane to be able to operate in. So, they said if you really want to know the truth, go speak to children because, we get to a point where we become heavily indoctrinated into different doctrines and different ideologies that are far from the esoterical, astronomical meaning of what it's actually derived from and the science of the truth, even in words, language, law, just in everyday, even food science. We have been removed from that for throughout the years. So a lot of times when you talk to children, the children their minds are just so playful and so innocent, and then all the negativity start being placed upon them. That's one of the dangers that happen. But then when you start this is what happened when you start allowing yourself to be free, to be open to that what's within you to rise up. because the what happens if you continue to challenge that's within you, you start having a war within. You start trying to have this mental war with this akashic war, this of the collective consciousness of DNA that's in you, that's trying to rise up and provide you the balance of truth. And so you start warring within yourself. So that's the importance of being able to just be still, and like you said, allow those things to come forth, and will help be our guide as well. It will help guide us in ways which are very much unimaginable. Um, Now, and as we continue to move forward in dealing with the Akashic record, how is it also connected with spirituality? I know one would think that spirituality deals with religion. So let's get into the connectedness of the collective consciousness, Akashic records, and spirituality.
All right. Well, spirituality does have a religion, and they're two. They're not the same.
Yes.
Two different words. They're two different words. All right. So that's one. It's two different words. All right. So that's on what, based on the word and its etymology, they're not the same. Spirituality, the Latin word, breath. Spirituality is not a ritual number. Oh, all right. Someone says, oh, they're on the prayer rug. They're spiritual. They gave somebody, something to eat. They're spiritual. No. I don't see them breathing. I don't see them doing any controlled breathing. You saying they're spiritual? The words you saying, I have to see breathing, controlled systematic breathing. You're using the word that deals with breath. Giving somebody a piece of bread is not dealing with breath, the controlled breathing to activate the higher brain senses. That's spirituality. But the state of or quality of breathing, the state of quality of retaining to, and we talk about systematic and controlled breathing. All right, that's spirituality. Now, religiere, to bind. So that's so religion deals with the system of binding people back to the divine mind. Well, you don't get that in none of these churches, mosques or synagogues, in temples, Buddhist mosque, synagogue. You're not getting that.
Wow, that that one just hit me in my heart when you said it. You said binding people back to their divine mind. And it's amazing you say that, because I know, as growing up in the Christian doctrine, what just came to mind when it said, let this mind be in you that it's in Christ. Okay, what does that mean? You know, it's the knowledge, it's divine knowledge, the Christ consciousness, divine consciousness that's already within you, to be able to tap into the Akashic records and know how to transverse throughout this dimension. Now, I know you mentioned about the snake. People see now that the collective consciousness and the Kundalini energy is also attached to the snake. Now, you mentioned people, we see it all the time. We see the emblem of the snake at hospitals, on the ambulance, and just related to health. But let's look into the esoterical understanding of the Kundalini energy and the snake connection.
All right, let me address you being born in the Christian doctrine.
No, I said raised up.
Raised up.
Yeah.
Yeah, raised up. Mm-hmm. Yes, you were. You were not just, you weren't given the true understanding of it.
Right.
So I don't want people to throw the Bibles away. I don't want,
No. Oh, I would definitely not advocate that. Definitely not what I know.
The Christian doctrine, mm-hmm. We weren't given, all right, but she means the Christian doctrine.
I mean the dogma. Hold on, let me. Let me
no,
clear it
no,
up
no,
from my
no.
voice to their ear.
But
Let me clear it up from my mouth. Let me clear it up from my mouth. When I say the Christian doctrine, I'm talking about the dogma, the doctrines of a man that they create the meaning of it that's outside of the nature of the true foundation of what it means. So that's my meaning when I say the Christian being raised up in a doctrine that is outside of true divinity. Go ahead, Abdullah.
all right. What I mean by Christian, you being raised in a Christian doctrine, the stories are fine. You were given a distortion
Absolutely.
because, all right, the stories are ancient.
Mm-hmm.
The stories are ancient. The stories in the Bible are ancient. That's fine. The problem is that you weren't given the ancient meaning of them.
Absolutely.
So that's Christian because you weren't. I just want. Emma was not given the ancient meaning of what's in the Bible. She was not given the actual meaning of the holidays. I don't want to throw the holidays away. I don't want us to throw this. All right. Yeah. Let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. We're born in sin. That's a true statement. So when Tamara means Christian doctrine, example, born in sin. There's nothing wrong with the statement. There's nothing wrong.
No.
What Tamara was given was the distorted meaning of the word sin.
Mm-hmm.
If Tamara was taught the etymology of the word sin, moon ties to water, born in sin, right? The moon, fertility
Yes.
of the womb.
Mm-hmm.
What's wrong with that?
No, that's the water in the womb.
We're all born in sin. That's a good thing. The problem is when she says Christian doctrine, she's talking the distortion.
Yes.
But born in sin is there's no wrong with the statement. All right. Jesus dies for our sins. What's wrong with that? The sun sets, the moon rises. He dies for sin. Jesus dies on the cross. What's wrong with the statement? That's a true statement. Jesus dies on the cross every year, December 21st, in the Northern Hemisphere. So I just wanted to give some examples of Christian doctrine. That's fine. It's a distortion. Tamara was taught, indoctrinated, believing that Jesus is a blind hair, blue-eyed, or if he looked like me, it's still wrong.
Right.
If Tamara had on the wall that somebody looked at me, so wrong. It's still wrong. It's still wrong. All right. Why is that still wrong? Jesus is the actual son.
Jesus is the what? I'm sorry, you ran that a little fast.
Actual son.
Gotcha.
Actual son. S-U-N.
All right.
Picture of me on the wall. I ain't the actual son. To bow down to somebody that look like me. That's still wrong. That's still wrong. To bow down to someone that look like Abdullah. That's still wrong. I just want to be very clear. Because a lot of what we'll do is we'll take the European image down.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta be careful with this. We'll take the European image down. And you place someone that looks like me. That's improper. That's still improper. Because you didn't go to the origin of it. You got people to the actual sun. So they still are distorted. And it'd be better to have a female up there, so they still gonna be down to a male. It's still distorted. Until you get to the actual truth of what it is, the actual origin, anything short of that is distorted.
Now, did we go over the snake? Did we go over the relationship of the snake
All right, let's look at the
I know we was talking
book
about
of
the
again.
snake. Okay.
All right, the snake on the amethyst. You'll see a snake going up a rod, and that snake is emblematic of the Kundalini energy, Christ rising in me, the ascension of Christ in me. What does that mean? All right, so the pineal gland. So I got to get that Christ, that oil. I got to activate that pineal gland activated again. So we have I covered the apron. Our apron covers the lower three chakras, so the lower self. I have my hand over my heart. That's covered. All right, higher self. From the heart chakra, you have the throat chakra. All right, which is the fifth, the pineal gland and the crown chakra. The apron they use in the lodge covers the lower three chakras. So the key is to get that snake going up that spine, spiraling up the spine. The Pope has a staff with two snakes ascending a pine cone. So you have the two snakes intertwined, ascending the pine cone, which is the top of the staff. Here we go, the pine cone. In front of our face.
Now
Right.
I know as a young I remember back in the day that was this movie. I love this movie. It's called Enter the Dragon. And in that movie, there was a scene in the movie where he would come out and say, "Who's the master?" And he say, "Who's the mofo low down around this town?" And then everybody say, "Show enough." And, I remember that was like the theme song when we carried
Oh
out
yes,
when
yes, sure enough.
everyone
Yeah.
attained their master's degree. We would
Mhm.
and we
Yep.
would say that mantra of "Who's the dragon?" And so, and I know the dragon has also an esoteric connection to Ash Wednesday. Could you go over that?
All right. The dragon, the breathing dragon. Once again, you have that fire represents enlightenment. You have a halo. You have electromagnetic spectrum around your body. And as you increase your frequency, that electromagnetic spectrum around your body gets stronger. So that fire breathing dragon, the fire representing enlightenment, illumination, Illuminati. And that dragon is emblematic of the snake or Leviathan or ass. So the dragon is a symbol used in China. And once again, look at the different cultures. See, look at the different cultures. The different cultures. The different cultures. What different culture? What different culture? What different culture? They use the elephant. That's the same thing. The cellular memory. The elephant is representative of the cellular memory. The elephant is used because of the huge frontal lobe. How elephant never forgets. The same culture. Until we have to come to this. If you're talking about reuniting the people, hear me out. No document can do that. Hear me out. No document on this planet can do that. If it's not restored here in the mind, if it's not restored here, they tampered with us. We've been tampered with. We've been tampered with We see this as different culture. How you want to have unity when you got people thinking that this worldwide different culture, you're butting head, different culture. It has to be restored. The mind has to be restored. Different culture, not a different culture. This is why I have on the cover to show that it's one. The world's been tampered with. The minds have been tampered with. We must restore the mind by restoring the true meaning of the culture. The ancient one world ancient culture. One world ancient culture. One world. As long as we are in the different, we're lost. As long as different comes out your mouth, you're lost. You're lost.
Now, Brother
Because you're
Abdullah,
not going to see.
I placed your book on the screen, Illuminati and Illumination of the Minds. I know of the mind, the ancient musical scale, pineal gland, melanin, DNA, and cellular memory. I placed it on the screen so the listening and viewing audience can be able to see. And this is what you were speaking of. You were speaking of. I know one. I know what probably jolted some people is the one would look at that and say, "Hey, that's the Ku Klux Klan headdress." You want to go into that a little bit? I know it may be.
Yes.
Yeah,
I'm glad you already fix your mind. You see what a cone head shape. Look at the all-seeing eye, and look at your headdress. Look at your hood that y'all be claiming. Look at your hood that y'all be claiming, right? And look at the all-seeing eye. Look at the point. It's emblematic of our. So when you have the pineal gland, all right, the triangle. There's our culture. This is why I put that on there, so that it's a way to demystify it. You know what the greatest, if we can, the Abhyana and explain with intelligence what it means.
you was breaking up a little bit. Wasn't able to pick up what you said.
If we can look the Abhyans in the eye and explain with intelligence what that means. You break the spell. You break the mind control. They're controlling our minds. Just like the flag. There's mind control. They control our minds with the distortion. We got to break that control they have over us. I'm talking about mental control. Hear me out. They let us go today. That's what I'm saying. They let us go today. They give us that day. Our birthright today. We're still messed up. Laughing while
I can't hear you. I don't know.
They're laughing while they're leaving. They're laughing while they're leaving.
They're laughing while they're leading.
They're so screwed up in the head. They're so screwed up in the head. We'll be back in 1 year. They're so screwed up in the head. We'll be back in 1 year. We damaged them so much. We'll be back in 1 year. They're so screwed up. You know what I'm talking about? We got to address that. Yeah, leave your religion at the door. Oh, leave your religion at the door. Hold on. I got my mind. Hold on. You said leave. can you do that? I'm doing that so you can analyze the statement. How can you relieve the mental damage at the door? How can you leave that indoctrination at the door? You walk through the door, now it's away. What I'm saying is that we parrot statements. Let's start analyzing. Let's put it in frame and analyze it. That's what we're doing today. That's why we're having this show. All right? I know. I figure I try to do certain things to get people attention.
That was great. I know we a little bit over time because you have a show you're going on tonight at 6:00. I'm sorry, at 8:00 p.m. Eastern, at 8:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I know you wanted to come on this evening and speak about Ash Wednesday. You're actually going to go in a little bit more details tonight about Ash Wednesday as well. You're going to continue that process. Now, as you can see on the screen, you have how to purchase the books by Abdullah L. Talib Mosey Bey. You can go to mooresandmasonry.org. Also, please, the works that are being done by Abdullah L. Talib Mosey Bey, as well as the Moorish Imperial Restoration Caucus, its media arm is the Moroccan Post News, as well as we are now currently featured on Crom TV through State of the Nationals the second and fourth Sundays of each month from 6:00 p.m. to 8:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Moroccan Post, we are on Moroccan Post on the second Friday of every month from from 7:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the second Friday of each month. And we also have our educational arm, which is Academy of Providence. Academy of Providence teaches etymology, grammar. We have had we have etymology class, which is called Getting to the Roots 101, 102. We've had Hooked on Grammar 101, 201, and we're currently in Hooked on Grammar 301. We've also had our Sejuris class 101 and 201. Our Sejuris 301 will not start in the spring because Abdullah is having a conflict with his editor and getting Moors and Masonry out. So we have to push Sejuris back to the summer. So it's going to start in summer, and it's going to also be in conjunction with Getting to the Roots 301. So Sejuris 301, Think Like a Jurist, and Getting to the Roots 301 will start in the summer of this year, and then we'll start in the fall with Contract Law 301. Contract Law this year will be dealing with trust law. So we're going to go into trust law with that. So the best thing about the classes at Academy of Providence, they are all recorded classes, the course material. We have a wonderful online student portal where you set up your student portal and you can study at your leisure. So just say, for instance, if you are in a live class and you're not able to make class that day because you have a family emergency or something happened, don't fret, because you can always go back to the class and it is recorded and your course material is there, and you still have access to the professor to be able to email the professor and ask any additional questions that you may have. And also 30% of our proceeds from the Academy of Providence goes towards the Moorish Imperial Restoration Caucus for the work that the caucus is doing to help to facilitate bringing all the Moorish political body politics into one central grand governing for the reversion of the sovereignty of the Moorish Imperial Divan. So there we have it tonight. We thank you. Please hit the Cash App button. Please donate. I know some people say, "Oh, we got to get Brother Abdullah some a better mic equipment. His mic is chirping." Okay, and how do you do that? You do that by going to donate, and you donate by going to Cash App at Tamara DEL. go to Cash App at Tamara DL and donate, and we'll love to go ahead and take care of those expenses of getting Brother Abdullah Bey a new, better mic system so we can discontinue the chirping, because I know he provided a wealth of information, and we want to make sure the information is clear. Brother Abdullah, do you have any parting words before we end for this evening? I know you got to get prepared for this tonight at 8 o'clock.
Yes. So, Illuminati, illumination of the mind. Illuminate everyone. Illuminate. All right. So I'll be on 8 o'clock, Ring and Stone Network at 8 o'clock. I'm going to go from 8 to 10 there. All right. So I'll thank you for everyone for joining us. Peace. Once again, go to mooresandmasonry.org to order books. Thank you.
Thank you.